Hello, everybody, and welcome to Aurorum Kingmaker Session 3. How's everybody doing? Good?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, slightly above half health.
Oh, that's good. And Neil's not here, so that just makes the game that much better. You know what I mean?
You act like he didn't take the luck with him.
Well, I mean, come on. He's been bringing bad luck lately, so I mean that's fine. So now that Neil's not here, can we like revolt against the Queen? Come on, join us in freedom. Come on, you guys can do it.
What?
You don't have to be a commonwealth. You can be a sovereign state. No?
No, I'm good where I am.
I suppose that might be considered like treason or
Wait till
something.
the Queen dies, and then we'll see.
Yeah.
He's lived a long time.
Yeah. So Neil will be here a little bit later, but that's awesome. There's no issues there. I suppose any questions or anything from you guys, or are we just gonna jump right into it?
I'm good to go.
Yeah, I'm good to go.
And then when last we left off, we heard, "Come now, let us discuss what has been and what will be." And you see the form, the cloaked figure before you, the very old, the pale, old, wrinkled Perrin that's before you with his cloak drawn and leaning on his walking stick. Kind of gesture for you guys to come a bit more comfortably into the room. Everybody comes a bit more comfortably. And so of course, what's your name there? Tesh, you of course feel comfortable in wanting to go in. You of course see this figure here. However, One and Rayrin have no idea what you're doing.
Okay. Well, I guess I would start walking in.
You start walking in, and you actually never. I believe you responded to him once. You actually said one sentence to him before.
Oh fuck! What was it? It was to do with no. I said he was. There's transmutation magic coming.
That's right, and he said perceptive, and so the others just kind of heard you say that, and then you go walking into the room. When you look back, you see your other friends are kind of walking in as well. We should say this. They go walking in as well, but they're kind of like looking around, whereas kind of your attention was mostly fixated on the sky. The other two are kind of looking around and don't really seem to be knowing what, like, okay, we're walking in, transmutation magic, let's be careful about it. You know what I mean? So, pushing forward like this. So you go walking in, and he looks to you and says, they are not able to perceive me.
Wait, what?
Your companions. They cannot...
Hey guys, can you see him?
I put my hand on Daelric's shoulder and I say, "What are you talking about?"
Well, this is interesting.
What's interesting?
Well, I mean, he was the one that told me that you guys can't see him.
Who?
What is your name? You just see me turn around and stare at nothing.
Yep. It's been so many years. A name is of non-importance. I cannot remember what my name was. Just my purpose.
Oh.
Seeing you focus on a spot, I'm gonna cast Sift and just see if I can see anything.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this is a -5 to this perception roll.
Mm-hmm.
5.
5? Awesome. So
Yep.
you look about the room with your sift, and one of the things that you can tell is that the room, as you see it, is a little bit different than how it feels, but very, very minorly so. You know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those. You can feel that you can feel with your sift more aging in the room than you're able to see with your eyes. Okay. So Valorant, go ahead.
Yep. He can't seem to remember his name. He's been here for a very long time.
Why can we not see him?
Why can't they see you? Why can't I see you?
You have been gifted with the sight.
Oh. Oh. So the dreams then. Yes, okay. I'll turn to the others. Rayron, I mentioned that I've been having... I mentioned to Rayron that I've been having dreams that have led me here. They have been interesting, to say the least, and they led me to you all. And they led me here. And I think that's part of the reason why I can see him. What?
Interesting.
Turning back around, why are you here? Why have you been trapped here?
Waiting for you.
You would visibly just see like a... Oh.
What did he say?
He said he's been waiting for me.
Ooh.
Not like that.
Are you sure?
Hopefully not like that. So I take it this has to do with Bene.
You know the name. You really were chosen to come.
I've done a lot of research as well as the visions I've seen. I did my homework before coming.
It's a good thing you did. There is much that we can skip over then, and move to the more important details. We have work set before us. Do you know of the curse?
I do.
The curse is old, centuries old. It needs to be lifted for all of the wrongs to be righted. The curse is an effect on more than just the land, but also the people that have caused it. The curse is a curse against the Perrin, as much as it is a curse against all that reside within these lands.
Huh. Okay. Turning to the others. Do you know of the curse?
No. What curse?
Okay. Do you know why there hasn't been a ruler in Idir in a long, long time?
No, I do not.
The curse would be why. At any time someone started ruling, became a ruler, within... It varied, but within time, they would go mad. Like, bonkers mad. And then the whatever empire they were trying to create would crumble. And that was a curse. And he just told me that that curse is also affecting the parent.
Is he responsible for this curse?
No, I believe I know who is, but I think he was left here to help lift the curse.
Who do you believe is responsible?
That is a long story. That name I mentioned before is the person, Vene.
Oh.
She had good reason, I believe, but it is doing damage to, apparently, to the Perrin as much as it's doing damage to this land.
Thought the Perrin were doing pretty well for themselves.
You see him like conflicted, like he wants to say, yeah, totally they are, and then he's like, because he's not convinced. And then he turns around. What sort of damage is it doing? What is happening?
You asked the old man this? What sort of damage is the curse doing? There is no order. There is no law. There is freedom, but at a cost. Countless innocents have suffered, though countless tyrants have seen justice because of this curse. Nonetheless, It is not the place of magic to damn one person for their actions or another for their style of leadership. That should be the will of the people.
Okay. That makes sense. And I'll turn back around. He's like doing the back and forth. Turns back around. He's talking about how the lack of ruling has caused so many issues in this land, and innocents have been hurt because of it, as much as tyrants have been brought to justice. So we're going to lift a curse.
Can you point to where he's standing for me?
Okay, I'll just point to where he's standing.
I'm gonna walk and see if I can bump into him or walk straight through him.
You go walking through the area, and it's one of those things where you go walking through it, and you're kind of like expecting something to happen. At some point in time, you just kind of like stop and turn around and like, did I go through the spot yet? Like, I'm pretty sure I did. And you like, look at Rayrin. Rayrin, you saw him. I said Rayrin, I meant Valrin. You saw him go straight through the spot and just kind of right through. And you saw the form do kind of like, almost like as if you were to walk through like a dust cloud. It does that kind of like, and then comes back together. You know what I mean? And it doesn't happen fast. It's like, it's slow. Like after he walks through them, it takes like 5-6 seconds for it to reform back to the image.
Well, you walked through him. He just sort of dissolved and then reformed after a little bit.
Interesting.
So what do we do next? Talking to the man.
There are 7 keeps here in this land. Each of them has a bit of the curse bound to it. As long as they all hold, nothing can ever break the curse. However, if even 3 were to falter, the right strike could break the curse forevermore.
Okay. So, one and Raren, there are 7 keeps that perpetuating this curse. If 3 of them, at least 3 of them fall, the right strike, as he put it, could break the curse. It would allow people to rule here again.
Did you say 7 what, sorry?
Keeps.
Keeps. Is this one of them?
I would think so. I'm going to immediately turn to him and say, "Is this one of them?"
It is, yes.
I'll just turn to one and nod.
Can he appear in all of them?
Are you bound to this one, or are you bound to all the keeps?
I don't know where I am.
You see Valkyrie like trying to speak, and he's like, "I don't know how to explain this properly." He doesn't know.
Does this man or whoever he is have a god?
Can you hear him?
I do not know who you travel with or the words they say.
Oh, okay. Do you have a god?
We share our faith.
Okay.
Me from the beginning and you from the end.
Okay. That's... I'm just going to turn to one and say, sort of. Not one that you would know.
Okay then.
What was that, sorry?
I said okay then.
Oh, okay. Okay, so how do we break the curse at this keep and the others?
Inside each of the keeps there is a bit of a trial. Something that can be done to... There's an effect that the curse had on each of them. To end that effect would be to break the keeps hold on the curse, though it is only temporary. Eventually, the curse will heal its own wound, and the defenses it had beforehand will be reformed. For instance, there is a keep with a bit of iron. Now, iron must be shattered, otherwise the curse will never be lifted. Shattering that iron is no small task. It is not iron like you've likely ever seen before. It's something that is not easily broken, and many blades will break against it. But nonetheless, there is the ore that will hold the strength of the keep. There is another, filled with the cursed ones. Those that have been washed over with the curse, punished for what it was that they did that inevitably led to the curse itself. They protect the keep in their own timeless manner. They must all be eliminated. Otherwise, that keep will continue to hold its curse, once again bringing them back from whatever state of destruction you put them in.
You see, like, Valron's actually full on got a notebook and just writing this down in front of you. Like, he looked really interested suddenly and then started writing.
I'll probably look over his shoulder a bit while he's writing, just to be that guy that just stands over being like,
go for it. I would be writing word for word what he's saying. So,
one thing I will say is, I'd say ask him if he knows how to get through these doors. They seem to be magically sealed.
Yes. Do you know how to get through the doors that were back that way, the magically sealed ones?
Then I know where it is you are. Behind those doors are the cursed ones.
Oh, that's less good. You hear that conversation one, and he just turns around and goes, so the bit I just wrote about the cursed ones, it appears that we are at that keep.
What cursed ones?
So when the curse was initially put on this land, it was, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, but I believe it was two nations of humans going at war. Was that correct?
There was my apologies. There's limited information on this kind of thing. Obviously, you have a little bit more research than most people on the continent do. But there were two human nations at war, because there's pretty much always been those two human nations at war in the ancient history. However, what happened was the people rose up from in here against the ones that created them.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Okay. So this was actually okay. So the cursed ones are okay. Yeah, I understand now. I'm gonna turn around and just, the cursed ones. When the curse was placed upon this land, there were the ones who made this castle, the mole, had the parent and slaves. It's a little more complicated than that, but they rose up against them, and then they put the curse on them, on this land, and so they are likely the ones that have been cursed.
Okay.
And he also mentioned their timeless ways, so they might be undead.
Yeah. Lovely.
Either way, to break the curse in this location, we must destroy all of them, which is going to be interesting. Turning back around, how do we open the doors again?
The doors are sealed by magic, and magic can unseal the doors. At one point in time, the magic was too strong that a simple incantation would have been able to open them, but the magic has wavered as the years have passed. So a spell could open it, or perhaps even the right key. What did that key look like? And where was it held? Where was it held? I believe you can find that key in perhaps this keep or another one of the other ones.
Ah, well, we will find out then. I'll turn around as we can open the doors with a spell. He didn't mention which, but the magic is wavered over the years. But there's also a key, so that assumption was also correct. It might be here.
Do we want to open the doors?
If we are to break this curse, yes.
It seems as though you're at the end of your line of questions. So then, I suppose, I shall start to explain a few things to you.
Oh, yes, okay. And he pulls out the notebook again.
You are well learned in what had transpired in the past. Perhaps some of your information is inaccurate. Perhaps it's all completely on point. That doesn't matter. You understand generally what needs to be done because of what has happened, why the curse needed to be created, and maybe even the pain that it's causing in the days that it continues to exist. But an important thing to note is where it is that all these keeps can be found. And I can give to you 6 of the locations. 6 because the 7th was never known. Not to anybody but those that resided within. The 7th one has always been a hidden keep. And so he actually gestures down at the table map that you had seen when you first walked into the place. The map that, kind of like shows you the sprawling lands and so on and so forth. And on that map, you can kind of like see, he gestures quickly to 6 different locations. Now, the map as it stands right now, as it's set before you, does not look exactly as you would imagine Perrin does. Sorry, not Perrin, Idir does if you were to see it on a map, because there's several cities on this map. There are several like large areas where there's clearly civilization, so on and so forth on this map. But that you're like, I'm pretty sure there's nothing of this vast size, if I understand the scale correctly, in these lands today. So it's an old map, but nonetheless, you can see the keeps where they are. However, to be able to read the map for the sake of utilizing it for yourself, because you don't have that good of a map, you have a very, very like almost like kids show pirate treasure map drawn thus far. So, but you do have really good notes. To be able to read this map, you are going to have to make for me a knowledge local or knowledge geography check, your choice. However, this is for you, Jake. When you look down at the map, you are also going to be able to, you see that he's kind of like, maybe hands on either side of the table leaning and looking at it. You can see same idea as what he sees. The map itself is of a lands that doesn't match the lands that you're in because there aren't these cities, so on and so forth. You're also able to roll me a knowledge geography, knowledge or knowledge local check if you would like.
I would be pointing to every location he points.
Because I imagined you would be doing something like that. Yep.
Am I able to just assist, or do you want me to make a...
You're going to have to make a separate one.
Something?
You're going to have to make a separate one, yeah. And I'm actually going to roll for Neil.
Oh, that was almost good. That was almost good. It was 16, and it was like, nah, I think an 8.
What's your... so do you have +2? You don't have knowledge geography?
No, I have knowledge history. I have a lot of knowledge history.
Where is Neil? Rayron.
Yep.
Where are you? Skills?
We're smart.
His geography is the 3. His local is also a 3. It's a class skill, and he never put a point into it. Bad boy. I'll roll knowledge geography for him. Maybe it'll break the luck.
Well, I guess we're going to be making real detailed notes.
Let's get these low rolls out of the way now.
I mean, yeah, it's just going to make things harder later on.
So with your knowledge 10, what I can tell you is we'll deal with that later on. So with your knowledge 10, you gesture towards where all of these different places are. But one of the things that really jumps out at you is the one that is most obvious to you where a keep is, that he's referring to, is on the map there's clearly a very, very large lake. It's very obviously a large lake. It takes you a couple minutes to kind of like discern, and this is kind of all three of you working together, north, south, east, west, and you discern it. And then you realize to the east of that large lake, and I mean completely due east, there is where one of the keeps are. Excuse me. If you had to put money on it, you would actually imagine that Hod Gwen, that's the capital, quote unquote, air quotes because there's no capital of Idir, but
Yep.
assuming there was a capital of Idir, that keep would be exactly where that capital is.
Okay.
But the others, I mean, you can guess where another one of them is because you're like, well, this one's in the mountains to the west. I'm guessing this is the one that we're in right now. You know what I mean? Other than that, your DC 10, your result of 10 does not give you any.
I'll be back in 1 sec.
Of course.
Yeah, okay. So that's okay. Oh, so we're currently to the west of Forvin, right?
Correct.
I need to get myself one of these maps that I can just edit and add things to.
Yep.
Let me just-
I can get you one of those later.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, and then yeah, how do you say it? Hord Gwen?
Oh, sorry. Haudh, but it's
I've got the
Hod.
spelling. I just don't
Yep.
know how to say it. So Hord
Hod-Gwen.
Okay, Hord Gwen.
Mhm.
Cool. I will mark that down. Hey, at least we get a one to go through next. Although I think after this, we're well, once we deal with this place, we're probably going to go try and help Jake find his person before time runs out on that.
Mhm.
Did you hear that? I said after this, we're probably going to have help one find his friend so the time doesn't run out on that.
Ah, yes.
After we figure out this place.
So
Pointing out
pointing at all the different locations, he does say, each of these locations has its own defenses. Each of them has its own safeguards against those that enter them.
That's one thing. Do I see the keep that I was originally sent to on the map? Roughly.
You with that exact check, roll me another knowledge geography.
Okay.
The DC's higher now, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you're welcome to try again.
Nope.
Unfortunately, you're like, I'm not sure which one it was. It's so hard to kind of discern things. I'm gonna have to compare this to my notes. Maybe later on I'll be able to figure it out. But for now, you don't know which one it is on the map.
I at least know that keep is there in case there is one nearby. We might try there and see.
Yep. And so he says each of them has their own defenses, their own means of keeping out the unwanted. But you will find that some of these defenses will falter before you because you were chosen to end the curse. For instance, the doors that you were struggling to open would have flung open were it not you that entered this keep.
Oh. That's lucky. I turned to the others. So it turns out that if it wasn't me as one of the people that entered this keep, those doors back there would have already opened in not a good way.
Oh, it seems you're quite the big shot.
Well, I don't know exactly why yet, but I had no direction, purpose, and then one night I did.
The correct response is, that's right, remember it.
You would actually say one thing you would actually see is when you say that sentence, he would actually look towards Rayron before then saying his reply, because of the way things have transpired.
Rayron is kind of just perplexed with the situation, looking at the table, trying to figure it out, so on and so forth. Rayron actually, when you look over at him initially, he's kind of got one finger up the nose and the other one in the ass, and it's kind of like, oh, I'm just really... really itchy in all the places.
I'm sure Neil is totally cool with that.
Well, it's just one of those things where like you guys slept on the ground in an old keep. Who knows what kind of mites or whatever just climbed into his
Ew.
trousers. It's like, oh.
That's what prestidigitation is for.
Yeah, I don't think prestidigitation gets rid of... Never mind.
That's true. Anyway.
Cursed mites.
No. That's horrible. Is there another door to this room? Actually, first of all, is there anything else you can tell me that might aid us in at least this keep? And will I see you again? He corrects himself.
I do not know if we will meet again. I look forward to it should it happen. But any other information that I can give you is just this. Know that the curse needs to be ended, and it has fallen on your shoulders. But it has not fallen on your shoulders alone. She would not select a single person to do such a task. It is impossible. This burden is to be shared with all that you travel with, all that were brought to you by her guidance, brought to you by her will. And so you share the burden and the responsibility of what needs to be done now and what needs to be done in the future. Perhaps your role and perhaps theirs isn't fully understood. You'll have to discover that as time continues. But for now, you will travel arm in arm to end this curse once and for all.
Thank you for your help. It's relieving to know that I'm not insane. Thank you. Which I'm sure is very, very, relieving for the others who I'm talking to nothing and saying, "Oh, good, I'm not insane."
Oh, that's pretty funny, actually.
But I would actually turn to the others and say, it appears it was not just myself that was chosen. I was sent to you both in order for us all to break this curse.
Sent by who?
Vene.
One he looks down, and you just seem kind of deep in thought. And he looks at you and he says, "If I am here, it is because Rogar wills it." I will help you.
Thank you.
But I still must look for my friend while we travel.
I understand, and I would not want to keep you from that longer than is necessary. Originally, when I wanted us to come here straight away, I had what I believed to be time sensitive. My vision had given me a way to get here from where I met, and I did not know if that would stay. But now we have other places to go after this keep, and so I think after we deal with this keep, we should go find your friend.
I put my arm just on your shoulder and kind of give it a little squeeze, and I say, "You should pray to Vroga. He will help you."
I was never one for praying. I mean, all of this was not something I really think I believed in properly until all this went down. So
we will change your mind.
Nice. That
was awesome. Yeah, well done. He would actually give like a.
He says, "You know your task, and you know where your task lies. However, I haven't given the last little bit.
Oh, yeah.
As I said, at least 3 of these keeps must fall for you to have a chance to break the curse. But each of them must fall at the same time for the curse to truly break, with only the falling of the 3 and not of all 7. Those are your options. Each curse that is broken within each keep will regenerate itself within 1 month's time. You have from the beginning of 1 to the end of that time frame to finish all 7 individually, or the ending of all 3 simultaneously. Otherwise, the curse cannot be lifted.
Okay, that's a little more complicated. He says that the defenses will regenerate after 1 month of them breaking. And in order to break, we have two ways to break the curse. Either end all 7 in 1 month, or end 3 simultaneously. That one is a little harder. I mean, we would need to know where they all are to break them all within a month. Anyway.
Yeah.
I would turn to him and say, if we were to kill or dispatch of the cursed ones here, except for maybe a few, would they all regenerate, or would, if we dispatch those last few as the way to break the curse here at the same time as we did things in other 2 keeps, would that work?
I understand what you're asking. Give me a moment. And you can see, like, as he's thinking, he almost seems to be, like, flickering. Kind of like you would imagine, like a hologram, just, like, staticky for a second. Seems to be flickering. And then when his flickering ends, his pose kind of changes from what it was before, which went from, like, standing there leaning on a stick and looking at you to, like, kind of being almost like a quarter bent forward and then, like, pulling himself back up to stand fully up again. So it's kind of like standing there leaning on a stick, flick, 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 and then looks up at you and gets back into the posture he was before, leaning on the stick. And he says, I believe that when the curse regenerates, that it does not regenerate fully anew, immediate, and at once, but begins regenerating and then continues to do so at an increasingly rapid pace afterwards. So perhaps if all of the cursed ones were to be laid to rest as they stood again, they would do so 1 at a time, increasing at the rate.
He would write that down in his book if you're still looking over his shoulder. And then just... Okay. Thank you for your help. It's been invaluable.
Invaluable, perhaps. Information certainly is going to be what wins this battle for you. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be parted without 3 gifts.
Okay.
The first gift that I will give to you is to inform you of the store of supplies that are hidden within this table itself. And he taps like a spot with his cane, with his like walking stick, and says, if you look inside there, you will find things that have been hidden for countless years. And because they are hidden in this room where the magics are held, they are also protected from aging, same as everything else was. And then he looks over towards, like we said, like I said beforehand, some of like the parchments and whatnot were like rotted away, and some of the furniture in here is like definitely done some rotting. And he says, perhaps better than some. He says, the second gift that I'll give unto you is the information that if you approach her correctly, if you sing her sweet song, she will allow you to ride her, because she has been here about as long as I have. Everyone in this keep being maintained since countless centuries ago.
You would see his face go from confusion to realization to, oh.
And the
And then-
third thing I will gift upon you is a blessing of divine power from her herself. It requires nothing but a sacrifice at a moment's notice, without a moment's thought, from 2 companions, for the third to benefit from the power that she will gift upon you. You may only evoke this so many times before the blessing wears, but it'll travel with you until you evoke all of it, or until the curse is brought to its end. So do not squander the gift, but do not use it too quickly either.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. You give him a little bow. I assume. I actually never really asked this. How did Perrin have a specific way of like showing respect?
They do. Usually, Perrin would, if you're showing like true signs of respect, it's to like your superiors. You know what I mean? When you served in the military, there's all the different ways depending on what it is you're dealing with, or if you're dealing with high political figures like the princes and whatnot. However, if you just talk from one Perrin to another, they're the very medieval, clasp of the arms. The very warrior-like culture. So it's one of those you would step forward and clasp forearm to forearm and whatnot. If there's somebody that you're particularly close with, you'd clasp forearm to forearm, and you'd even lean in and touch shoulders. You know what I mean? This is to it's kind of a sign to each other, but it's also a sign to everyone else around you that there's a true bond between the two of you. It's something you would only do with a family member that you're close with, or someone you served shoulder to shoulder with in combat, and it's supposed to represent that shoulder to shoulder in combat, the fact that we are like a wall that can only be broken by breaking all of us. You know what I mean? It's like a respect to a man-at-arms.
Okay, then I wouldn't do the full one, but I would go to offer the arm in arm one to and see if he knows, or if he doesn't, then I'll just bow.
No, he will grasp your forearm with his, which leads you to believe that either he is up to date on current affairs, or perhaps this ritual has existed for who knows how long. Either way, your hands does grip his, same as his does grip so your hand does grip his arm, same as his hand grips your arm. Now, you can't really feel the texture of his hand because you wear robes and whatnot to protect your arms, but your hands are bare, and what you grab onto, while it is solid enough that it holds your hands, it almost has a bit of a gritty texture to it. Kind of like if you were to grab something solid that had a thin layer of maybe sand, or like a fine powder that was on there as well. You can feel it, and you can almost out of curiosity, because it is, unfortunately, your character is sometimes curious to a fault. You would almost, as you feel this almost grittiness under your fingers, you kind of like move your fingers, shift them ever so slightly while you're grasping it, and you'd feel the shifting underneath, the grittiness again, as though there was sand on a table and you were pressing against it and rubbing your fingers. He doesn't seem to pay any notes or anything like that to it, but as you grasp forearm and forearm, you do this kind of clasp, he then just fades from view. Just kind of similar to before, as the almost as if a hologram were to fizzle out, he fades from view.
I would turn around to the others and go, and now for the proof that I'm not crazy. And he's going to bend down and go to the spot where he pointed where the stash is, and he's going to try and open it.
So you go over to the area and you try to pop open the stash. Unfortunately, it's not something that you're particularly good at. You're not a really hands-on person. So you can kind of gesture down to the area and have either maybe one smash it open, or
He like tries to do the cool thing where he's like, yeah, I'll do that. And then he's like, no, this isn't working. One, I need help.
or Rayron can try to finesse it open. Either one.
I would open it up to Rayron first before I break it.
Finesse first. Yeah, finesse first, break it later.
Okay. So we will...
Like we tried with the door. We tried the nice way, and then we smashed it.
I love the fact that Arvine accidentally, but did specifically ask for one day you guys to come across a mimic door. So just understand, sometime in the future,
Yeah, I saw that in the Discord, and I'm not happy about it.
Season 1 or Season 10 or somewhere in between.
I played a game where I encountered a mimic door before, and it was terrifying.
Yep.
So...
Yep. I love how mimics are sticky too. So it's like you grab the hand and you're
Yeah,
like, oh, it's holding on to me, and you're like, oh no, is this like a sticky trap? Is it like a poison trap? What is this? Well, I'll let you in. Going over to the area, the locks themselves, just like everywhere else inside this keep, are well crafted. This is really good smithing work that made these locks, but they're not incredibly intricate. So he was able to get over there and utilizing that same needle that kind of like looking up to you and kind of like gesturing for you to hand him over the needle. He takes the needle head of the dart from before, is able to kind of like slide it in there and eventually click and unlatch the thing, and the door swings open. And when he starts pulling out the stuff from within, it's actually a considerable amount of supplies that end up coming out. So he pulls forward several scrolls and several potions and a couple of scrolls. So to work through all of these supplies here, I'm going to need you to roll for me a single, what is it called? Spellcraft check, because of your ability, to see how many, what are they called? Hey! I was just saying, see how many of those you do.
One thing only.
Oh, no, that's sexy. That's good. Good job, man.
But I'm real damn good at that one thing.
Okay, cool. So let's kind of go over what it was that you had gotten from there. So let's see. It's good. That's already done. So let's do this one right here. First thing you end up finding is a potion of Endure Elements, a potion of Mage Armor,
Hey.
a potion of Protection from Arrows. This protection from arrows is, I believe, caster level 3, meaning that it can absorb 30 points of damage before it falls off. And then a scroll that we'll get to in a second. Next thing you end up finding is a potion of Cure Moderate Wounds. Sorry, 2 potions of Cure Moderate Wounds. 2 more scrolls.
So 3 scrolls total so far.
Correct. And then you end up finding, because that you wouldn't find here. Then you end up finding a potion of Bull's Strength, a potion of Shield of Faith, basics only +2, a potion of Bear's Endurance, 2 more scrolls.
Holy fuck. So that's 5 scrolls.
Correct. And all those potions that you already had listed to you. And that's good for now.
So, this is a lot of potions. I'll tell you what they are in a second.
Yep.
What else?
Okay, and so that is what you find for supplies like that. The next thing you're going to find inside there is a ring that you're going to have to identify as well. And you have the ability to identify with spellcraft checks.
Yes.
And the last thing that you find in there is actually a strange-looking belt. I'll describe the belt for you in a moment, and you're going to have to identify that as well.
Should I just do a spellcraft thing now? Or?
Yep, we're going to have you spellcraft those scrolls. Actually, I believe Neil had had memorized Read Magic. Please.
He did. He can do the scrolls.
Yep. So Neil is actually going to be able to handle all the scrolls for you. So I'm going to just tell you what those are. There's a scroll of Fire Trap.
Of Fire Trap. Yep.
A scroll of Rage.
Oh.
A scroll of Summon Monster level 3. But mind you, this is a Divine scroll specifically. It's important to note when they're Divine versus Arcana. And the reason why it's important is because it makes it easier for one person to cast than the other. A scroll of Detect Animals and Plants. And a scroll of Invisibility Purge, which, by the way, Detect Animals and Plants and Invisibility Purge are Divine scrolls. Those are into Arcane scrolls.
Wait, so oh, okay. Wait, no, say that again. The last 2 were Divine?
Correct, because those don't exist on any Arcane lists. So, but spells like say Summon Monster exist on both lists, so I have to differentiate between them.
I hear the word Purge, I assume Divine.
Yeah. Invisibility purge is just more or less like an explosive area of effect, like a fireball, but ends invisible effects. But
That's cool.
it's instantaneous, as opposed to like see invisibility, which is continuously you can see things. This is just instantly ends things, but they can always quaff another invisibility potion or something afterwards. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, anyways, those are all the things. Roll for me. I suppose that was your spellcraft check to identify which one, the belt or the ring. I'll be nice enough to let you choose.
Okay, let's make that.
I'd like to see Tesh rage.
That would be amusing. Especially with this guy just runs and breaks his arms on something. I'll do the belt for that one.
Okay, so unfortunately, you do not successfully identify the belt. I will still describe it to you, though beyond this, it doesn't really matter. This narrow cloth belt has silver buckles in the shape of 4 rings. So it's a narrow cloth belt, but it has silver buckle in it in the shape of 4 rings. So it's like almost imagine like an Audi symbol, or more accurately, imagine the Olympics symbol sans one of the rings. You know what I mean? Kind of like linked together, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome. And then roll again for the ring. Ooh.
Hey, that's more like it.
Awesome. And so you're actually able to look at this ring, and you can actually see that the ring has on it. It's clearly of mole craft. Everything inside this place is of mole craft, right?
Yep.
And so the sigil that's on the ring is lost to you. You don't know what it is, or is it? Knowledge history.
Hey.
Lost to you. You have no idea what it is.
Damn
But
it,
what you do know is that it is in fact a ring of protection +1,
Ooh.
which grants a +1 deflection bonus to armor class. And having found all these items, given the gifts, shaking his hands, and moving onwards, but no idea what the belt does, why don't we take this moment to have our first break? So
Okay.
we'll give everybody a couple of minutes to pee-poo and do what you got to do, and we'll see everybody in just a few minutes. All right, so bye, everybody. See you soon. Bye.
Okay.